it didn't dawn on me that, oh no, you about to have a C-section in the next 3 to 10 days. So my water's broken, and their whole goal at that point is just to keep him in there. It didn't dawn on me that, oh no, you about to have a C-section in the next 3 to 10 days. So my water's broken, and their whole goal at that point is just to keep him in there. Now, what I will say I learned a lot being there just about eating, how to eat for my child, because they were pumping me with fluids. I'm drinking water all day, just trying to fill everything back up, pumping me with iron, giving him another shot to try to boost his brain and his lung development. And in the process of being there, I learned I had gestational diabetes. I'm like, okay, another thing on top of another thing. But everything was going well, and they were saying, eat a rainbow. Don't just eat the same thing. Eat different colors, fruits, vegetables, all of that. Build up your baby. So I was learning at the time. But, at that particular hospital, my doctor, he was sort of like a doctor that would remind you of Dr. House on TV. He has students following him. And this guy was great, but his bedside manner was interesting, I should say, because he was dating one of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And he moves like that. Like, he ride his motorcycle.
Superstar.
Yes, he seemed like a rock star doctor. And it's like kids in the room, and he's just, lightweight, out of line from time to time. But he was good at his job. And so everything was going fine. They were doing ultrasounds every day, which you told me, I believe that, I'm not sure if that's healthy for the baby or not.
It's controversial.
But in that particular circumstance, it was comforting to see him, to see his different positions, to see his different development. But they basically told me, if something goes wrong with your heartbeat, anything wrong with your contractions, anything wrong with the baby, and we're going to cut him out. He basically told me that the goal is to keep him inside of you as long as we can. We'll keep filling you up with fluids, and it'll just slowly leak out of you. So every day I'm just soaking, my bed is soaking, and they just keep filling me up. Fluids, water, soaking, filling up, soaking. But if they sense anything at all, they're going to cut him out of me. And it just so happened that my doctor went home one night. We were praying. At the 10-day mark, my mom said, I'm going to pray, and we going to get you to 30 weeks because each week is so pivotal to the baby that they told me a nice goal to shoot for, but they told me it was probably unrealistic for me, was 30 weeks. So we said, no, this is going to be our reality.
Right. And
right at the 30-week mark, my doctor went home a little bit early that day. And then I started to feel like, basically I had to poop, like to go to the bathroom. And so I went in there, and it was like shuddering. I mean, worst thing I've ever felt. And I'm telling the nurse this, and she's like, oh no, you just probably have to go to the bathroom. Well, okay.
Right.
I am in there on the struggle bus. You hear me just bawled over. And my mother later told me, she said, I think you were in labor.
Yeah.
But this is not something that they picked up on, because when they check your contractions, and they had the contraction machine on me earlier that day, and everything seemed fine.
Yeah.
And so she was just going off of the machine. She wasn't being acutely aware of me and how I was feeling and what was different from me today rather than yesterday. And so I think that lasted maybe an hour and a half. And then I found myself on the floor. My husband, I said, Daddy, I can't get up. Excuse me. If anything happens on the floor, but I can't get up. And the nurse walked by. It was a black nurse, actually. And she said, what are you doing on the floor? I said, I was trying to go to the bathroom. She said, no, I had to scoop too many babies out of the toilet bowl. No, get back into bed. And when she tried to put me on the thing, I got on all fours. And so she went and called my actual nurse. She came in, strapped the thing around me, and it still wasn't reading any contractions. And so I'm in like the most uncomfortable state ever. And the lady walked by again, like, what is going on in here? She never acts like this. She said, I think you need to get a doctor from downstairs. This is the black nurse that came in before. Now, mind you, my other nurses, they weren't black, but they were nice. They were very polite, very kind, very much by the book doing their job. But there was something different about the lady who kept coming to check on me, and she saw that something is different, something is wrong, we need to take action. They went downstairs, got a doctor, she checked, I was 8 centimeters dilated, and the reason why they couldn't find my contractions was because they had dropped so low. This baby was about to come out. I crawled onto the other bed thing. On the way to the delivery room, now my husband and I, we wanted to have a natural birth. They said, do you want the epidural? I said, yes, please. I would like that. And then they say, okay, well, did you have any heparin? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you gave me. And my husband said, yes, she did. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I told you could have that, but you can't have that.
So they asked you if you had heparin. They didn't
Yes.
look at your chart.
They asked me.
So again, like that was another like opportunity that either could have went really bad.
Yes.
So imagine if you were like, I don't know, or no, we didn't have it, and you didn't know that you had it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just want to talk about your different experiences with your nurses. And so according to evidence-based birth, it's not, so yes, some black women, many black women may not have access to proper health care, but even those who do have access to proper health care, they still face a higher mortality rate because of the systemic racism that exists within the healthcare field. And you said your nurses were nice. It's not about being nice. It's literally just about any biases that I may have, especially if I don't experience Black culture or people of color or indigenous. I feel like if I don't understand who you are as a culture, it will be hard for me to empathize and relate to you. And so I think it's interesting that you say that while they were nice, she still didn't discern, or it seemed like she didn't have the empathy to really know that something is really, really wrong.
Yeah, and I had 2 nurses. There were 2 nurses. It was like 1 white nurse, 1 Hispanic, and 1 black woman. And I think people don't realize that they might have something inside of them that's embedded,
Right.
Like people automatically think that black people are loud.
Right.
Or they have a higher tolerance for pain.
Yes. That last part, yes.
Yeah, so when someone else expresses that something is going on, I feel like what might be contributing to the death rates is just that they're not moving quick enough or not acute to each specific circumstance because everyone is different.
Or the thought that Black people complain a lot. And so
Yeah.
it's probably not that serious because we complain, and it's not that deep. Again, just that bias alone can literally be life or death. And I feel like every person should be treated the same. If you're a healthcare professional, you really have to weigh, like, why are you in this industry? If you're caring for the people, you should be surrounding yourself, at least, trying to understand cultures other than your own. There's no way that I can have empathy for you if I don't understand your people.
Yeah.
So,
And lay everything to the side. Really treat Arialle as Arialle.
right.
Mya is Mya. That's important.
Yeah.
It's very important. And I think it's easy to let that,
Yeah.
slip away.
You don't realize it until you're faced with it, or you literally like self-examine. It's I could have biases towards people that I don't. As a Black person, I can have a bias towards a culture that I don't experience. So if I'm of service to people, I need to know what another person's culture is like, because they may move differently than me. So then that way I can have empathy, because as a human being, I'm going to naturally connect with you if I understand you. If I don't understand you, I'm just going to assume based off of what I see on television and music, or just my happenstance, experiences with you on the street. It's unfair. Yeah.
That's why I think it's important to have a support system, someone who has been there with you throughout the journey, who knows you. They know when you're not feeling well, just along your pregnancy journey. I feel that is pivotal to the health of you and your child and the experience that you have in the hospital.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had my husband there, but what if I didn't? Things could have went south very quickly. His sister almost bled out on the delivery table.
Yeah.
And she lives in a 6-figure household.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so we get there. We get downstairs. It took 10 minutes from the time we were upstairs to being in the room downstairs for my son to be born.
Yeah.
10 minutes. He could have been in the toilet bowl.
Right.
So, and another thing, I think also people have to realize that things are built in them. Like my nurse that was downstairs, she was rude, and I think it's because maybe she thought I was young or my voice was light. Like she was rude to me. She's like, I'm trying to get the birth heartbeat, but she won't keep still. I'm looking at this woman like,
You're having contractions.
I told her when this contraction is over, I'll be still.
Yeah.
But what if you don't have the courage to do that? What are you supposed to do when someone is abrasive? I don't know the answer to that, except for to make sure as much often as you can to have a support system, have someone there to hold your hand and help you breathe and help you push basically forward and give birth, And I ended up having my baby naturally, and that's what I wanted. My baby was born 3 pounds, 7 ounces. I didn't even get to hold him until about maybe a week after he was born. They took him out, and immediately he went to the NICU.
Wow.
My husband got to see him open his eyes, but he just one quick way, and he was gone, and I just looked at him in a box for the following 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I was grateful.
Yeah.
I was grateful. And he had lots of complications, blood on the brain, what do you call it? Jaundice, jaundice issues, and he was just small, but he's here. And I think for the next woman, take care in who you put around you. Take that extra mile, go that extra step. Educate yourself, read, understand what's supposed to happen as much as you can. Be prepared.
And trust your instincts.
Yeah, and trust your instincts. Yeah.
And it's great that you said that. What if you were single? So it was great that you had your husband there. But if you are single, you should have an advocate, whether it be a sister, an aunt, or a doula. It's really important that you have that support system. So we appreciate you. We're so thankful that your baby is here. It could have completely went south if he was born under any other circumstance. It really could have went the wrong way, and we could have lost both you and your baby. So just wanted to shed light on that, and hopefully encourage the next woman. Thank you for encouraging the next woman and empowering and educating yourself. So we will be glad to have you back, and we would love to talk about your experience after that. In the meantime, thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you guys for our next episode, and thanks for watching. Bye.